Nobody is coming for you and nobody is going to save you. Let me say that again. Nobody is coming for you and nobody is going to save you. I know that sounds harsh. It sounds a little bit cold, but here's the deal. This is going to be the truest thing that you're going to hear in this space today. And if you hang with me for the next few minutes, it can absolutely change something for you. If not, you might stay stuck right where you're at.
Did that go the way you thought it was going to go?
Welcome to the channel, everybody. My name is Aaron Smith, retired police officer. I work with burned out first responders who are stuck mentally and emotionally, struggling in their relationships, purpose, and identity. We work together to get back to reclaiming what's important in their lives. We've all seen the videos. Nobody's coming for you. Nobody's coming to save you. And I think there's a great message in those. I think that that message hits hard and it's absolutely true. You see the slow motion workout videos, you have somebody yelling at you to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning because nobody's going to hand it to you. And while I think that's true, if you're a first responder, that message lands just a little bit differently. You've given everything to your career and you're not lazy. You just don't know what to do. You're not unmotivated. You don't come home and sit and isolate because there's nothing else to do. Your body and your brain is simply wired for survival mode, and you don't know how to explain that to anybody. So when I say nobody is coming for you, I'm not talking about hustle culture here. I'm talking about what a lot of us are silently trying to convey without even realizing it. So here's the deal. Your department, your agency is not coming to get you. I understand this message. I was in the same boat, so I understand this struggle firsthand. We simply sit back and wait for somebody in command to look at us and realize that we're struggling and say, you know what, we're going to take care of you. I see that you need some help and we're going to make it happen. That is not in their agenda. Their job is to simply put bodies on the road. If you work for a department or an agency, they've got minimum staffing, right? It's to put police officers on the streets, dispatchers in the seats. Didn't mean to rhyme with that one. Corrections officers in the pods, paramedics out on the rigs, and they have an obligation and a duty to fulfill. They do not have a budget line item for your mental health, your emotional health, the struggle in your relationships, your purpose, your identity. That's just not a line item that they have in their budget. Now, I go all over the country and I talk to many first responders, and maybe a handful of them have a decent EAP program, but it's not many. So they have a checkbox, an EAP program, maybe a wellness seminar or a wellness newsletter that goes out once a month that the entire agency just makes fun of. But they cannot be more invested in your mental and emotional health than you are. They can't care more about their relationships and burnout more than you do. You have to own that and you have to want that because the agency is not responsible for all of that.
I don't want to hear that.
And the moment that you stop waiting for them to come and save you is the moment you can turn this around and begin to heal. I see my comments on TikTok and social media all the time. A lot of people get pissed off because they think their department or their agency should do more and could do more. And while there's some truth in that, the fact of the matter is that's not going to happen. I remember a few years ago, I was in the locker room at our department and I was in the same aisle as one of our command officers. And of course, when you're standing there getting ready for work, you have that conversation. So he says to me, "Hey, how you doing?" Like we typically do throughout the day. And I was in such a spot. I was extremely toxic. I was burning out fast. I had an attitude problem. And I thought to myself, you know what? Here's the answer. I'm going to get him. I turned to him and I said, "You know, I'm not good." His reply, "Yeah, I know." And that was the end of the conversation. He went his way, I went my way, and I became so furious. I became so mad and upset. I wanted to chase him down and choke him. And at the time I had no emotional intelligence. I had no self-awareness to think like, what was he supposed to do?
Tired of you getting angry and yelling all the time.
Maybe he could have told me to reach out to somebody. Maybe he could have put me in contact with somebody, so on and so forth. I thought back, and it took a long time for me to realize that ultimately that was my responsibility to seek help or to do something about it. But I was such a mess. I was more looking for a mouth fight than I was anything else, and it turned into a nasty situation. So I did not realize until several months later, I had walked away from the job. Everything that I had at the department was sitting in a box at my feet. And I got to a point where I did not want to live any longer. And it was then that I realized that I'm responsible for this. I'm going to win this battle. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to fight for it. This is up to me to fix. And then it was at that moment where I decided that, okay, I'm going to figure this out. This is on me. But before then, I had no self-awareness to realize that this was on me. And so this message today is for you to take that first step, and it's your responsibility. It's my responsibility. So the thing about taking that first step is it's not a weakness. You're smoked. It's not a character flaw. You've been running for years and years under stress, double shifts, overtime, going to traumatic calls. Your nervous system gets so jacked up at work. You can't express emotions at work because that slows you down on the job. And so now when you're on or off the job, your system, your brain is rewired to just simply say, the world's a dangerous place. You're always preparing for the worst case scenario and you stay stuck in that mode. So the thing you need to understand is that you're not going to sit back and think your way out of these situations. You're not going to be able to walk back into a relationship and just think that it's going to get better. This is very intentional and deliberate work, and it takes time and it takes a ton of effort. But the thing is that it's that first step of recognizing that nobody is coming. Nobody is coming to save you. You have to do it yourself, at least initially. So what does that look like? I'll walk it back for you. Nobody's coming, not your department, not your union, not the system that trained you to be a hell of a first responder that you are. This is something that we have to do. And when I say one step at a time, that's exactly what I mean. I'm not talking about making drastic changes right now. I'm not talking about running out and jumping into counseling at the moment. It's something simple. Reach out to somebody, have an accountability partner or a best friend to say, here's a serious conversation I need to have. I'm really at this point. I'm really struggling. Go out and grab a book on mental health or whatever it is that will fit what you're going through. Watch some videos. I got an idea. Go out and buy a $2 lined notebook. Sit with yourself for 5 or 10 minutes and simply write down, how are you feeling? How are you feeling mentally, emotionally? How are your relationships? It's probably something you've never thought of before. Start to deeply think about those things that you're struggling with.
That's a really good idea.
Because we mask it, we put bad habits on top of our emotions in order to cover them up and to hide them and to bury them and to not deal with them. And we snowball and things get worse and worse. So don't end up like I did, walking away from the job, hating life and not wanting to live anymore, because life is worth living. It's great. But you have to take that first step. All right, everybody, if this resonated with you, I'd appreciate if you drop a comment below. If this is something that resonates with somebody you know, another first responder, sometimes it's as simple as just putting the right words in front of them in order to get them to have that switch in their mind to start doing something for themselves. And I'd appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button. We'll definitely go deeper into a lot of these topics. Crack that like button for me. And until next time, that's it for now.